Well, hi everyone, it's Jane of Velocity Vet 08, and I'm here to bring you a finished design team project for SaCrafters. I am super excited about this one. I built it and I thought it was going to be fun to build, but I never thought it was going to be as fun to build as it ended up being. I am absolutely thrilled with the results, and I hope you are too. A lot of people have watched the process videos of this along the way and have been very inspired. And I hope that for those of you who haven't seen it yet, I hope it inspires you as well. It definitely got me in the Christmas spirit of building things, and this tree was absolutely the coolest design. I just had such a good time with it. It is a very simple tree to assemble. It essentially is two trees. It's one this way and it's one this way, and you just slot them together, and then there's slots here and here, there's here, here, and here, and you literally get half round pieces and you just stick them together all the way up, and you have this darling tree. What I did with mine after, well, I should have done it after I put it together. So let me give you that little tip of advice. What I did before I had it completely assembled was I used the vintage bags that a lot of us have. They look like this. And I have them in various sizes. Creeping in here. And essentially what I did was I just tore them into literally small shreds of, just different shape pieces. And I used like Mod Podge and just covered this entire tree with these pieces of paper. And I was very generous on the Mod Podge. And so it's very sturdy. It's all the shelves are in there really, really tight. The reason I say that I would recommend putting it together first is because I was so generous with the paper and the Mod Podge. It was a little hard to put together. I did put it together before it was completely covered, and thank goodness that I did that, because it made it possible for me to get it together. But when you fill up the spaces where they're supposed to slide in together, it makes it difficult. So I would recommend putting it together and then doing the papering. It would, if you want to do this style, it would probably be easier. Once I had it all covered with paper, I used this chalk ink, because now I'm addicted to color box chalk ink. And I used dark brown. And because of the Mod Podge and stuff on here and the color of the paper, it kind of came out like a sepia color, which was just perfect. It's really what I wanted, and that came out really nice color-wise. And then I started collecting little images, and I'll put the link where I got my images. It's the same place Linda from Live Art Now gets them. She's the one who, it's Magic Moonlight free images. And they have just some absolute beautiful images, and they're much, much bigger. So I had to shrink them down, and then they're in color. And so I printed them in, I changed them over on my computer to sepia, and then shrunk them down somewhat before I printed them. And then after I had them printed, I could see what I needed exactly, and then I just put them on my copier and I reduced them to some more. And then some I used in the paper form and made art tiles, and some I ran off on fabric paper and used them like to stitch on tags and things like that, and I'll show you as I go along there. The art tiles that I made, I did using Saw's wood tiles that she sells. And these are really very useful. This is one of those items that doesn't cost a lot, but has a million uses. And I'm going to show you some of those that are on my tree, and these are just a few things you could use them for. I have them in different sizes. These bigger ones like this, and they have little frames, and so you can frame things as deep as you want to frame them. You can make them like a shadow box, you know, if you want. Make them quite deep, like that, you know, or you could just have it be one layer, or you could just use it flat. I also have this size, and they have, these frames go around the outside. The first one like that does. So you can use it like that, and then you can do what I did, and I just added an extra layer, and it made it like a frame then. And you still, the reason that that's kind of good on these smaller ones is because then you don't lose any of the size inside here. So these are really super cool, and I'll show you how I use them along the way. And this, I believe, is two separate purchases essentially. The big ones are, you know, together, and the little ones are together, but they're very much a bargain, just like, you know, things in her store are very reasonably priced, so are they. And I'll show you one art tile here that I didn't end up putting on here. I'd made previously. You can see it's just her wood on the back, and then here is a picture. It's just like a snowy scene of people walking down a busy street. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but it's all snow here on the street, and this is like a lady. You can see the lady, the back of her. And then this is like just, you know, here's the arm of a person walking. It's just a busy street picture. And if you want to see how I made my art tiles, I actually have a tutorial out there about those. So, but I did use them for that, and I have several of them on here. And then another way that I used them, and I'll show you on one of these, I made a mirror. Smell a mirror? Pretty cute, huh? And you can see the tree reflected in the mirror. And I made it with one of the small ones. And I just used the Tim Holtz mirror paper. And it worked out amazing. So there's so many things you can do with those little art tiles. So I wanted to show you that first real quick, because that's one of the things I did before I got started, was I prepared my images. And then once I had all my images sorted out, and I knew which ones I wanted to put on wood and make into art tiles, I went ahead and did that. And that was part of my getting my elements ready. And I will say this one thing, and I said this on video, you know, you could look at those and so I'll just do it on chipboard and save myself some money. It's not a lot of money, trust me. These pieces of wood are not. And you can do them on chipboard, there's no doubt about it. But the chipboard will never hold up as well as the wood. Wood will always hold up better no matter what. And so, you know, if you want to do a little bit more aggressive altering to them potentially, you know, and I say that potentially, you may not intend to do that in the beginning, and then it just may get that it goes that direction because you're having fun with it or whatever. But at least with the wood, you won't have any limits. And so that's why I like working so much with wood. So just my 2 cents there. Like I said, and I mean, you know, they're probably like $1. So I mean, they're a little more. They're not bad. I don't have the exact price right now, but I know that everything is so reasonable in her store. So that was part of my preparation, and I'll show you. I'm going to show you compartment by compartment, and then I started getting other things ready that I wanted to use. And I had decided I wanted a very, very vintage theme. And although it would be Christmas, it wasn't going to be traditional looking Christmas. You know, I wanted it to be a very vintage looking type of Christmas scene. So that's what I went after in doing this. And I got my sewing machine out and, you know, did some sewing on this. I used little tiny paper clips, garment pins, buttons, all kinds of different things in each of these. Each little compartment is its own little winter scene, and that's, you know, how it was designed to be. So I'll show you each one, and then I'll talk to you about like what I used from Saw's store, you know, in each one. Not everyone has, you know, not every one of the compartments has something from Saw Store, because the item itself is from Saw Store. So, you know, I used all kinds of things to make this. There's a lot going on in each little compartment. So I'm just going to start here with this one. And I apologize. There are a few glue strings, and I did not want to hit them with the heat gun because there was too many things. Like if you hit these things right here and they get hit with the heat gun at all, you know, the old Dymo embosser, that the letters will be gone. They just disappear. So you got to be so careful with the heat gun. And I just didn't want to use it to melt my glue strings. So there are a few here. So here's my first one. And I put a little bit of vintage, and this is very vintage, measuring tape. I just don't even know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be sick when I run out of this. It's from a garage sale. And I don't know how old this must be. Many of the numbers are off, just worn off over time. And it's a fabric, and it was 10 cents. And I absolutely adore this. So I use it sparingly, but I use it when I'm going to do something special that's vintage. And this project qualified for it. So I put that down. And then I just, with my I bought, you know, one of the old original Dymos and spelled out home. And over here is a little piece from, I believe it's from Butterbee Scraps, one of the like little free gift pieces. And it's just a little lock, and I hung a little jump ring off of it. And then behind this wreath is some black. It's probably kind of dark. I don't know if it's too dark to see things. I always have my trusty flashlight. There's the like pearl bling back there. And I do want to show you that real quick. That is like really, really a good bargain. She sells this, and you get like 3 packages or something like that of this for really a super reasonable price. And, you know, you can stock up on it. And it's, like I said, it's very, very, very reasonable. So I used it as just part of my, kind of like part of my wallpaper behind my wreath. And that's just one of the Tim Holtz wreaths, and I put a little bit of Snow Tech on it, and I put a little seam binding bow on it. And then this, of course, is one of the clock keys. And then on this side, I have one of the, it's a Christmas image of Santa, and he's in front of the tree, and the kids are all hugging him and everything. And it's printed on fabric. And then there's a piece of brown lace underneath it. And there's also, like, what I did was I took a lot of tags. There's a tag underneath here and another tag going vertical, and I cut them all down to fit appropriately inside here. And they're kind of hard. Hopefully it's not to see. You can kind of see the top of the tag, and you can see the side of the tag right here. And so I, you know, tried to make sure and do a lot of layering. And then I just put the garment pin on there, and I put the button on here with a little bit of jute on top of, or to tie onto the button, just to, you know, so it didn't just look like a naked button. And then I have another garment pin below it. So I love the way that looks. And I also, did I stitch? Yeah, on the very back inside, I don't know if you can see it, but it's, yeah, you can see it back in there. I stitched a straight stitch and also a zigzag stitch, just, you know, again, for interest and for the, you know, the whole appearance of it all. And all of this was edged really heavily, actually, with that same chalk ink, the dark brown chalk ink. So that's that one. I'm going to move over here. And over here, I took one of the big bottle caps. This is a Prima one, I do believe. And I took a little image and put it right across the middle. And then I put a bunch of like snow stuff that's in a bag, like flaky snow. and put it in there as well. I put a little clip in there, a couple buttons, and some little gold, or they're called champagne color, little beads, a little like seed beads without a hole, the little tiny micro beads. And I just put all that in there, and then I just filled it with my 3D crystal lacquer, and it took like a couple days to dry really good where you could see the image well, but I love it. I absolutely love the way that turned out. And then I glued it onto this, it's like an old postcard, and you know, vintage looking postcard. I think they're 7 Gypsies. I'm not 100% sure. I've had them for ages. And then here I put a little garment pin, and then that K is one of the Tim Holtz pieces that's from a couple years ago too, or at least a year ago. And then a couple little pins, little clips, like paper clips, mini paper clips. And then there's a little pen nib back there in the corner. And then over here I made a burlap tag, and I edged it and put a little button on it, and I sewed the button on it. And I ruffled it up real good, and then I put one of the compasses on here, a game spinner, and then that little Prima piece in the center. And then down here I just put a piece of like cotton crocheted lace and a hook and eye, a sewing hook and eye, and I sewed that on. And I just kind of dirtied it up with my ink a little bit, and then that's one of the Tim Holtz buckles. So, you know, again, just trying to make a neat little vintage scene in each one of these little cubbies. And I just love that the way this tree is made, and you have these little, each little hole that you can do these things with. It was so fun. On this one, on this side, I have this super, really, really cute, like drawer handle, and I'll show you what they look like. I love, you can kind of get an idea of the proportion of the size of them. They're just so cute. And they're, again, really reasonably priced. A super cute embellishment. And there they are. I mean, you can see by the palm of my hand, these are not big. And so it's a really cute embellishment to have. And let me tell you what, this isn't plastic. This is metal. And it's got weight and substance to it. So this is a really nice product. I really, really like it. So that's what I have right there. And then on this side over here, I made an art tile. And this is probably my favorite art tile of them all. Do you see the image is just snowy Christmas trees? And I just made it snow all the way around. So it literally looks like you're just looking through a snowy window. I loved that one. And then I just layered it with different tags, and it was really neat how I ended up, none of the tags I had were small enough to do this with. And so basically I cut the middle out of everything, and the art tile covers it. So in other words, this is like, this right here is like a little envelope, okay? Like a little pocket envelope right here. And this is a tag inside the envelope. But this really isn't deep enough to be an envelope anymore. The back of the envelope is right back there, see it? But the middle is gone. And that's just, you know, the way I had to do it. And the same with this tag right here. There's the top of it, and there's the bottom of it, but the middle's gone. And so I love the way that turned out. And then this tag that's sticking out right here, it's just the end of it. The rest of it's all cut off. And then that's just one of the Tim Holtz clips. And this is, again, the art tile. And I just used those pieces of wood from Saw Store that I was telling you about. And they make beautiful art tiles. They're just so, so pretty. And then a pen nib and a little ticket that says Soar, and I edged all that, you know, with that dark ink again, and then a little Christmas tree and a little key that I put there just to give that vintage, you know, feel. And then finally on the bottom one, going around, here on this side, I first put a tag on here, and I had to cut it to make it fit right. And then I also, you know, I cut the edges, I put the holes in the center with my big bite, and I used new reinforcers just to make it look all you know, like it was a tag. And then again, a little piece of my my measuring tape and a piece of film strip, and then this is an old vintage watch face right there. And then this bar right here that I put a jump ring on each end just to give it some interest. These are the word bars that are made out of wood that SAW makes, and I have the whole collection of those. And this is my bag of goodies of SAW stuff that's like so much fun. This is the word bar. So you get a bunch of them in a bag. I have 2 of them on here, and I have all these left. And again, very reasonable price. And they have the same word phrases and so forth that we're used to in the metal ones. But here's the thing, like I mentioned in my video, I could have gone and put a metal bar on here, and I have plenty of metal on here. But if I can use wood like this in a situation like this, that looks so much better because I have a very vintage rustic feel going on here, and having the wood for a rustic feel is so much better. So I'm not saying that, you know, throw away all your metal ones and buy these. What I'm saying is it's not a bad idea to have both on hand, because if you're doing something that's all metal, then you've got what you need. But if you want to have something with that vintage rustic feel, these wood ones are perfect. And so I just love the touch that gave that right there. And then on this side over here, I did another image, and this one's on fabric. And I used a little mini file folder, and I had to cut it down to make it fit. And I wrote love on it just by hand with a pen. And I stitched with zigzag stitch and straight stitch, you know, just to give it some interest. And then I have another tag tucked back behind here, and I just put a little garment pin on it. And then down here, I thought this was so cute. I used a little mini spool and put a little rose there, and I curled the end of it, and then I used one of these little vintage spoons. Is that not so cute? And it fit perfect in here. And then I used a little button and another little paper clip, and I thought that looked super cute. And I want to show you these spoons because they are also one of SAW's items. And I have to tell you that I skipped over buying these I don't know how many times. They're not pricey by any means, and I thought they were big. I didn't realize that they were just a sweet tiny little embellishment until somebody else used them, and I was like, seriously, these spoons are only this big? How cute. And they're so detailed. They even have like little etching of hearts inside the spoon. I don't know if you can see that or not. If I shine my flashlight on it, you can kind of see it. It's so cute. So there's little details everywhere on these little spoons. And so I put one on here because I thought that it was just perfect for that. So that's where that came from. And so I love the little scene that created in here. And then I'll just move straight up into this one. This right here on the bottom says love and has a little paper clip again and a little flower. And that love, I edged it with the dark brown. And again, that is her pieces as well. And they are hers, like she has several different sentiment type things. But these are her, they're just like little wood sentiments. They are great for layouts or something like this. You know, you got a door, story, play, soar, wish, hope, bliss. You know, all the usual kind of things that we like to use. And they are really nice, just little wood pieces. And you could, you could make them glossy if you want, or do what you want. I didn't want to gloss them up because I didn't feel like that stayed with my rustic look that I was going for. So I just used the love one and did it that way. And then over here, I have another file folder, another little button on it, and some jump rings. I just put some kind of random jump rings on there. and then I stitched the folder on both sides, here and back there, and then put the word friends on it. And over here on this side, I used another one of her little frames and wood pieces, and I thought this was one of the most adorable pictures to me. Look at this picture. It's a little boy with a cape in front of a tree. I mean, it is so darn cute. And I used vintage photo around the edge of the wood, and I used the crackle paint, and so it just made little tiny crackles around there, which I thought looked so cute. And then I just put another little paper clip right on the corner, and then this is a little key going across the top. And I just thought that was adorable. I loved that little image, and I put a little bit of my 3D crystal lacquer inside. Since it was supposed to be like a little picture, I did want it to shine like it had glass on the front. And then I just put one of the clips right here on the end. And the main reason I did that, when I stood back and looked at this, I felt that it was off-weighted, like there was more sticking out over here than there was over here. So I added the clip to kind of help balance my tree out. So, but I mean, these frames, come on, they are darling. And this is just like, you know, you can put anything you want in there. They're so cute. And then this one over here, I have these really, really tiny little frames. They are so little. And I actually just put a little piece of music note washi paper in it to make like a little picture on the wall. And then I used a little tag that said wish. And then I have these little metal clips. And I use the ones that, like with the 2 and the 5 for Christmas date. And I thought that was real nice. And I edged the little tag and everything. And then down here on the bottom, I just bunched up some of that cotton lace. And after I bunched it up, I put a little one of these pins on here. And then I also put a little button with jute on it. And I just thought that made a nice bottom. And then over here is, and it might kind of reflect funny with the with this flashlight, but it's, again, I put 2 of the frames on here, okay, and it's one of the bigger square pieces, and this is a picture of like a little girl, or it's a little girl, it's a child, kind of running in the snow with their tree, and it's all snowy and everything, so I tried to like kind of duplicate that snow look at the bottom. And I actually leaned this up for the clear lacquer to dry, so it would be like the snow bunched up more here at the bottom. And then I just put some tinsel snow all around the outside edge. And in, like, when you look at it without, you know, any kind of artificial light or anyway, just natural light, it looks so cute. It looks really darling. And then again, I also made homemade kind of tags and tickets and stuff to layer behind it. I put a piece of film strip behind it, and just you know, I didn't want it just straight on the paper and that's it. It also has one of the little paper clips right here on the corner, and I stitched as well. You can see the stitching back here. So just really tried to make it very interesting inside each little cubie. I mean, I just thought that that made it look, you know, super, super cute. So I want to make sure I go the right direction. Okay, this next one right here, this is the one where I made the mirror. And I mean, okay, I'm just in love with the mirror. And I put one, this is the smaller wood piece, and so I put a wood piece around the outside, and then I stacked one wood piece on top of that. And then I also used the vintage photo crackle paint on the surface of it. And I didn't go to a lot of trouble to like do the sides or anything, because again, I was going for that rustic feel and I didn't want to have all that. So it is got a little paper clip, see that, holding it up, and that's a brad, the top of the brad. I just cut the top off, I glued the paper clip on it, and I used the brad like a little nail, like that's what's holding the mirror on the wall. And then I used a little punch that I had, a Martha Stewart butterfly punch, and punched out this little butterfly out of some tea-dyed paper that I had bought or somebody sent me. I didn't tea dye it. I'm not really very knowledgeable in the tea dyeing, just because I haven't gotten into it. But I edged this with the brown ink as well, the chalk ink, and then put this little Christmas tree in front of the mirror because I just thought the reflection of that would be really cute. And then garment pins, jump rings, things like that around the bottom. And then over here, I used one of the postcards again. And I used one of those, I don't know what they're called, philosophy tags or some sort of tag. The Tim Holtz ones are the season one, so it says greetings on it. And then a tiny little brown button. And I stitched the image. The image is of a, like a boy and a girl, and they're holding hands, and they're just going along in the winter. And so I just zigzag stitched that. It's done on the fabric material, you know, it's fabric you can run through your copier. And so I did that, and like I said, and then I just stitched it, and it's stitched directly on this little postcard. So I thought that looked really super, super, super cute. And then the last one at this level is this one. And again, I took one of her inspirational word bars, and this time I just took some baker's twine that went with the colors I was doing, and I just wrapped it around through the holes and tied it, and then I glued it up a little bit so that you'd still be able to read it pretty good. And then on the bottom here, and I edged it as well with the dark brown, and then on the bottom here I just have a little you know, one of those things to help you thread a needle. And then this is a vintage bottle, and it truly is a vintage bottle. These were so cool when I bought them, and it's just loaded with watch parts. Do you see that? And they are actually, I bought a box of them, and they had just a few little vintage watch parts in each one, but I had more, and I loaded it up just so that it would look, you know, they were so tiny you couldn't even find them hardly. But these are pretty neat little bottles. They're numbered and everything. They're very cool. And the box they came in was really vintage cool too. In fact, it fell apart. But this is another art tile that I made using her wood pieces. And at this time, of course, I used no frame. This is a really darling little snowman. And I think you can see it okay. And the kids are just playing with the snowman. And basically, you know, just put texture paste around it and my little gold beads and stuff and my 3D crystal lacquer on it. And I just thought it was really cute. And it's on top of a little vellum, like envelope that I cut down. And then also another tag that I put underneath there. And I just put, you know, jump rings, garment pins, things like that, and the little paper clips. Just to keep that same vintage theme going that I have throughout the whole thing. And then up here, I'm just going to move straight on up. This is, I think I can just set it down on these. This is another one of my images, and it just says Merry Christmas. And I stitched around it on top of a little homemade tag that fit it well, and edged it with the brown ink and everything. Put a little jump ring on it, and then another little garment pin at the end of it, and then another one of these little, like, you know, they're just like little place markers to use in mini albums, that sort of thing. And then up here, I glued a really vintage looking key up here, and then I wanted to do some kind of like little topper, and I was like thinking I would put a bunch of jute at the top and tie like several bows, kind of like this. But I tied the one, and I just loved the simplistic, rustic look of the one. It was just, to me, all of a sudden became all it needed. And so I left it at that. And I also took, these are the little Tim Holtz ice skates, the vintage ice skates. And I used them, I just tied one, you know, each, like it's just a moving strand of baker's twine. And I just ran it through this key and just have it hanging here as kind of my tree topper. And like I said, it was just a very vintage way to work with this tree. And then when you get over here, again, I used some of my measuring tape. You can tell how much I like this tree and this project because I donated a lot a lot of my, to me, this was a lot of my measuring tape, and I do love this tree and this project. So I put just a little button there, and then I used another tiny spool and just a little tiny game spinner on it, and then just a little paper clip. And I love, like I said, that, you know, these were getting smaller, so obviously what I put in them got smaller. And then this is just one of those penny farthing bike charms, and I put another little butterfly with a little, and there's a little pearl in the center of each one. And this has also a little bit of that pearl, black pearl bling of saws here. It's a little hard to see, but you know, every little detail, even no matter how hard it might be to see, counts. Because if it wasn't there, you'd notice it missing, I'm telling you. And then this is the last one. I put a very old style key right here, and then in the little Prima piece. And then this is, I thought was just such a cute little image that I found. It looks like a bingo card, but says Mary. And I made yet another tag for it, and then stitched with a straight stitch around the whole thing on it. And I thought it turned out really cute. So that is my tree. I know it took a while to go around and show you all the different little areas of it, but I am just absolutely thrilled with my tree. I love every single one of the little scenes. The tree is super fun to work with, and this is just one person's idea of how to use this tree. And you know, as you can tell, it's a little bit like not the expected, or not like maybe the traditional way that you might use this. So there are endless ways to use this. I mean, just endless ways. You know, you could make it more traditional by using different you know, garlands and different ornament type things. You know, you could make each one of these, and I think this would be so cute. You could have each one of these have a really cute altered matchbox in each one. And I mean, would that not be so cute? Have each one have an altered matchbox, and you could even have each matchbox have something cute inside. And you know, keep with a color scheme on that. I mean, there are just so many creative and good ideas of things to do. So this tree, as of this video, is under $5. And I mean, I don't know where you can go have this much fun for $5, let me tell you, because it was great. It was so much fun to do. And I hope you love it. I took some still shots. Hopefully they showed up good at the beginning of the video and you could see how they looked. And anyway, that's it. I'm going to be moving on to the next project. And I don't know exactly what I'm going to do next. But whatever I do next, I do have an announcement of something else I want to tell you that I'm going to be doing too. So stay tuned for that. And also too, I did want to mention one of the things that I talked about in a lot of my process videos that if you don't watch them, you may not have heard. And that is that I, you know, love and adore all of you very, very much. But I am my own worst enemy. I talked about, this is really almost my battle than anybody else's. You know, I've talked about, you know, not answering everybody's comment every single time, just because it becomes to where it's more and more difficult to have time for crafting. And everybody always goes, oh, that's fine, no problem, I don't mind, because I appreciate all of you so much. So everybody's totally appreciative, no problem. And then what do? I answer every comment, because it's like I seem to have this addiction to answering the comments. I want to be close to each one of you. I want to know each of you really well, and I want to be respectful, and I want to be proper, because that's how I was raised. And so I feel this obligation to do it. But it doesn't have anything, I don't think, to do with being respectful or proper. I think it has to do with you guys knowing that you mean a lot to me, and you do. And I do think that you understand. It's just something that's in my mind that I feel this obligation. And so I'm trying to step back from answering everyone every time. That's all I have to say. And I really hope that you will go out and look at Saw's store, because you know, well, to give you just an example, okay, today I was like, I wonder if Saw's done anything new. I haven't seen any latest videos of anything new. And so I decide, while I'm laying in bed this morning, I haven't gotten up yet, then I'll just take a quick little look at Saw's store. What does she have? A new wishing well. And I'm like, and this really cute stamp-shaped shadow box. It's a postage stamp. It's so cute. But I looked at the wishing well, one look at the wishing well, and I had it in my cart and bought it. So anyway, my point is that there's always something new on Saw's store. Go out and take a look. I'll have the link in the description box. You won't regret it. Like I said, under $5 as of the time of this. So anyway, thank you all for being there for me. I appreciate you all so much. Bye-bye.